okay, this is really great because it is the same as that brand. And that brand was successful, so you will be successful. But to me, that doesn't make any sense because I don't care about the other brand. I want to know what I did right and wrong here. But what I learned, though, was really good. It's like if you do a social campaign, you will see that it's stagnant. After time, it fades out and stagnated and dies, right? And that goes back to in the past, we used to do that one big campaign and we ran it until everybody was tired of it. But now we tweak and tweak and tweak as we go, almost on a weekly basis, and suddenly we never lose traction. So that's how I see our perspective on branding, is that our job is constantly tweak. And yes, it's really important to look at what are we successful with at other retailers. But here's where I struggle. You often have a wholesale section in a store, in a company, a team that works on wholesale. Then you have a team that works on retail. Then you have a team that works on e-com. And the three of them never talks. And that sucks. It should be, take this for example. I worked with Stephen Lagos, a jeweler in Philly. He was very technically talented and very good at designing. So he sold at Neiman Marcus, he sold at Bloomingdale's, and he sold at his own retail stores. And I looked at his business, and it was in Bloomingdale's and Neiman Marcus. He was like almost performing at the David Yurman level with a lower price point. So his turn was extremely fast. So I said, that's where your audience is. So now I went back and we sat in this little design studio, and in there was a big cabinet of all prototypes, like one of a kind. And he said, yeah, I sit on like $3 million in wholesale here. So not retail, we're talking wholesale price. So that's roughly $10 to $12 million in retail. Sat there. I said, okay, let's do this. We're going to do one of a kind trunk show in all Neiman Marcus personal shopper stores, because that's where your audience is. And we travel with that. We took the trunk, and you can imagine the selling arguments. Yes. Do you have this one in other colors? No. This is the one. Like, we sold for almost $500,000 at each location in less than 4 hours. So that he figured out that that's where my audience is, and that's where I'm going. And it's the same thing like you said about Costco. When you see traction somewhere, lean into that and utilize that channel, even if it's not yours, because that's what the customer looks at you, the way you want them to look at.
The orchestration, I'll tell you, some brands and some businesses really get it. There's a lot, and it's shocking. Like I talk to brands like you do all the time. Does this part of your org talk to that? No. Like, are they in the same build? No. Do they? Like, it's amazing, but I got to tell you, and you know this better than anybody. That's where the magic happens. Like,
Yes.
if you don't have orchestration between the visual folks at retail, between the digital people, the merchandisers, the planners, the supply chain guys, the finance people, like if you don't have an orchestration, you're only going to get so far, and you're never going to create what you are great at, which is magic. And you walk into a Brooks Brothers back in the day, you walk into an Oakley shop, and there was like this pixie dust that was just over like the stores. And then where you were, you had deep connectivity to the digital people, and we were able to really synthesize all that. And I'll tell you, you start to feel that, in the
Yeah.
P&L after a little while.
Yes, you
You
do.
become sticky, and you become, you're selling into adjacencies. You mentioned IKEA, like, wow. I mean, yeah, dining room, fantastic. But like, guess what? These people also have, I don't know, shoes. They need shoe racks. They need, hangers, God knows. These guys were masterful back in the day at sort of innovating into selling into adjacencies at, awesome price points, but really making the customer feel like they're buying something unique and special.
Yes, absolutely. I think that it's psychology, like what we deal with as brand marketers or working with brands and developing business is that we work with human psychology. That's ultimately what we're playing with. And what I learned over the years is that deja vu as a concept is extremely important. So if I see something on social, I see something on brand.com, like when I show up in the store and recognize that I saw over here in a new environment, I feel at home. and I feel trust, and I feel like, oh, wow, that is for me. Suddenly it all connects the dots for the customer psychologically. And then suddenly it becomes a purchase. So, because now if I keep consistency between different things, and consistency as a human behavior is one of the biggest important factors in a relationship between two people, is consistency. If you're consistent in your relationship, any other partner you have, friend or married wife or husband, like they feel trust in you and your relationship grows. Same goes for brand to customer. If you can create a deja vu and you have a consistency in your presentation, it's very clear what you stand for. Like
And there's also
Ralph Lauren has been good at that.
there's
Yes.
love running through that whole
Yeah.
thing as well.
Exactly. And the line of expression is horizontal, not vertical. And I think that's really important too, because once I can see things consistency over time or over a line through my life, I feel a connection to that brand. And Ralph has always, in my opinion, been very good at that. Like he has core items that he will never stop selling, the polos and the shirts. And he style every mannequin the same way he styles the models online. So there's a consistency in how it looks. And then I can connect to it. He doesn't use that many top celebrities. He used normal people because now I feel a connection. I can look just like that guy online. All of a sudden, it's approachable for me. It's
Yeah.
attainable.
And they were magical. What they invented 60s, 70s, all the way through today. I mean, that was magical how they did all that.
Think about it for a fact. Ralph Lauren looks like an old brand. Ralph Lauren looks like he's been around like Brooks Brothers for years, but he hasn't. And that's the thing. He created a story that people could connect to and felt that it was relevant for them. And he has that heritage legacy approach, but it's not that freaking old, his brand.
Isn't that
So I
amazing?
love that. He looks like a Brooks Brothers, but he's like what, 50 years old as a brand.
Yeah, and he's, famously palling around with the Queen, with the new king. I mean, like that by the osmosis, it just creates